Yes, guys, this is why you're not making bread with appointment setting. So essentially, when you get put onto a role, most likely as long as they have some sort of systems within the setting process, if they don't have this, potentially this is then your red flag where you're like, okay, maybe I should either get a second opinion on taking this role, or I should dive a bit deeper, see what's going on. If you do get given a framework, which you should, then please, please, please do not treat it like a script. So before we kind of go into that, let's just go back over how that framework should look like. So with this framework, what you can basically do is, even if you're not a setter, you can go into any offer and then you can make your own setting framework. And then all you need to do is put the setter in, or you as the setter yourself, you can go in, you follow this framework and a few other things that we'll go into in a bit later. You will be able to set people as long as they have leads. There's marketing, either organic or paid. As long as that's coming in, you will be able to set someone. So this is quite a good skill, or quite a good concept to grasp, even if you're saying like a growth operator or agency owner, because then you can essentially pitch businesses on setting processes without even really needing to know what you're talking about. So essentially, this is how the framework would go. So you'd have the outreach message, so the first DM. So this could be something like, hey bro, thanks for the follow. Just wanted to know you're here for the content, or are you looking to get in shape? For example, if that was like a fitness offer. So that'd be the outreach message. Now, the only purpose of this outreach message is literally just get the foot into the door, basically. Like, get the foot in the door, get the conversation started. And the reason why this is obviously quite a important concept is because once you've got your foot in the door, once they've replied, the chances of them booking, of them then following through the framework, going through and actually having that conversation with you, that then goes up considerably higher. Because once you've got the foot in the door, they then have some sort of buy-in, they have some sort of obligation from like basic human nature where they feel like, okay, I need to respond to this guy. Similar to like if you were having a conversation with someone, say in the shops, they're going to respond to you. Once you started the conversation, once it's been initiated, they might like look away a bit at the start so that you don't start it. But once you start the conversation, most likely they're just going to talk to you like normal. And that's because they have an obligation to carry on that conversation through like human nature. Then would be the qualifying section. So there's two types of qualifiers. So there's intent and then there's financial qualifier. So now these two are literally just questions that could be asked in any different way. You'd have the acknowledgement, so you'd have the ACA, you'd have the acknowledgement, the comment, compliment, whatever you want to call it. And this is just the question. Financial qualifier, pretty self-explanatory. You could do this in a very abrasive way. If you've got loads of bookings, for example, you can just straight up ask them, yo, how much you got in your savings? Or you can ask slightly more of a subtle question, that you can ask what they do for work, what their job is, all things like that. Then the second qualifier would be the intent qualifier. So with that, that's just, do they have the intent to actually do the business model? For example, if it's trading, property, whatever it might be. If it's business opportunity, so BizOp, then they need to have the intent to start the business, to start the agency, to start the property, whatever it might be. If they don't have the intent to start it, then there's no point even having any other conversation. So once you've got past the qualifying section, then you'd move on to the current situation. Now the current situation is essentially just, where are they at the moment? So for example, if they're looking to start property, start trading, whatever that might be, where are they in this journey at the minute? Are they, not really taking action right now? What exactly are they doing to change this situation? Basically, that's what we're trying to sort of find out here. But first, we have to find out where they actually are. So once we find out where they are, where their current situation is, we can then move on to the future situation. So what does that look like in terms of like where they're trying to go? Say if you're in a property offer, what are they trying to do strategy-wise? Are they trying to go BTL, HMO, and why? Find out a little bit more about that. Then would be the plan. So here is usually where you can get the most leverage, because most people are not even going to have a plan, because if they had a plan, they'd be making it happen right now. And they would have told you that in their current situation already. So potentially in some offers, that might even be a way to dequalify people. But most likely they don't have a plan because of time, money, guidance, whatever that might be. So here is when you can basically find the most leverage to have that pivot point to then book the call, handle any other objections, get them on the call, do the post-booking process, carry on the conversation, all things like that. So that's the framework at its very, very basic sense. Now, again, this is a framework. This is not a script by any means. So you don't want to just boom, 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 follow them. But that's kind of what we're going to get into in just a moment. Now, when you are going through the framework, what most setters are going to do is they're going to outreach, they're going to qualify, they're going to current, they're going to future, plan, book the call. They're just going to boom, 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 get them in. They're going to have so much attachment to booking the call. They're going to think that, you know, you have to hit these points to book the call no matter what. That's not even the case, which, to be honest with you, when you first start, is probably extremely confusing. But let me try and explain it a little bit more. So when you're starting to have these conversations, so you outreach, they then reply. You'll probably qualify them first before you get too much out of them. You say they qualify, the intent, the financial, whatever that might be. You say that. Once that's been said, what you'll essentially do is you'll then move on to the next part. However, you might not move on to the next part straight away. What you might do is you might deviate off. And the only reason why you deviate off is because they're giving you a lot of information. So they're sending you a lot, and you can see personal information. They're talking to you about personal experiences or things like that. This is the point where you pounce. Kind of like if they had an armor on and there's a chink in the armor there. You've seen the chink, you stab it, right? You stab it and you do as much as you can. So when they are revealing that chink in the armor, that might be that they really want to go to Thailand, or they went to Thailand the other week, and you know that your client went to Thailand as well. So what you can then do is you can ask them questions. Oh, have you been to Koh Samui? Did you go down to the island? Did you have a little party? Chat to them about it a little bit. Don't be afraid to come off the framework and just have a genuine conversation with someone. So talk to them about it. You might find out a bit more information, and then you come back on. And what you've done here is you've shown that you have complete detachment to the call booking. You've come off the framework. You've had that conversation, but then you can come back on. And the effectiveness of coming back on is now you've gained loads of rapport just from asking them a simple question and being very detached from the booking. But yeah, once you pivoted back onto the framework, then you can continue to take them through the journey, or maybe they might give you some more information. And the way to kind of identify when the point is to pounce, to use your emotional intelligence, to use your sales IQ, is when they're giving you quite a lot of information, because then you can start to ask them more questions about this, more questions about that. And it comes back to human nature. People love talking about themselves. So if you get someone talking, you build rapport, you build trust, they're then way likely to want to book the call when you get to this point. They'll have way more buy-in, and they'll almost feel like they need to, because they've had a genuine conversation. And really, usually your clients are like big business owners, whatever. So they feel like they've had a conversation, actual genuine conversation with a big business owner. They're like, sick, this guy actually cares. Then once you come to booking the call, it's so much easier to book them up. But this right here is literally the single most biggest mistake that setters are making in the market. I don't even know how many setting coaches are even teaching these concepts. So if you lot are watching this, add it to your course, please, because I'm trying to run my office here. Bag of shit setters. Can't lie, there's a lot of bad setters out in the market, which is actually why I'm kind of making this content, breaking it all down. Because when I first started, I was so confused, because it's a pay-to-play industry. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of things telling you go one way, a lot of things telling you go another way. So I'm trying to just have a central place, all the knowledge that I've got from 2 years of being in the industry into one place, so that people can just access it for free. And when I run my offers and we scale them to the moon, I can actually get good quality setters. But yeah, this, just to kind of wrap up, this concept is probably the thing that separates the average setters to the best setters. Any setter can ACA, totally get that, man. Yeah, anyone can do that. Literally anyone can do that. But to have that sales IQ, to have that emotional intelligence, to have the balls to come off the framework and genuinely not that. People say, oh yeah, have detachment in sales, But if you genuinely don't care if someone books, and you're just there to have a genuine conversation, hit these points, when they come, you don't even have attachment to hitting the points, ultimately you are going to be the best setter on the market. Now, if you guys need any more tips, any more help, my Instagram's Aaron Tyre. Give me a follow, send me a message. If you boys want to reach out to me, whatever, ask for some advice, get some help, become one of my setters, get help, getting into setting. Maybe you're a business owner that wants to implement setting. Whatever that might be, this is the central place to find me, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.